Hi, honey. You want to see Halo? He's wearing your face chain.
Wear it all the time.
What's all going on?
Hi.
Hello.
He wears it all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I use a lot during meditation and stuff. It's great.
You want to see Halo? It feels fantastic, right?
Oop, oop, oop.
And you meditate a lot daily for hours.
I'm working on it.
I know. I just did an hour sound lounge session before this interview.
Beautiful. There we go. Okay, now the sound's good. All right, and here we are. So let's do this intro real quick. Thank you. Welcome to Alchemy 101. My name is Halo Marquez, the alchemist, Mystech wizard. Today we have an amazing soul brother, man, soul tribe, Mr. Craig Goldberg. Right now, man, I'm so excited to have you on the show. Please say hello.
Hello, everybody. Am I coming in clear, Halo? I am excited to be on this show. It's a long time coming.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Really long time. We've only known each other.
We only met in this life, right?
Right. So that's how I know it's been a while, you know. So if you don't mind, before we get into Mr. Craig and everything he does, I would love to give you my perspective of how we met, because we talked on it, but it was very brief. And I don't think you fully understand the entire impact. So I'm probably just as excited, if not more than you are, to have you on. So again, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so if you guys are new to the show, Alchemy 101, we're all about, acknowledging your lead and transmuting it into gold, taking the things that have seemed like the opposition part of your life and understanding that it's a very important lesson, that we're not always prepared for the lesson, but we're getting these signs continuously. So when I first met Craig, it was after quite the hiatus for me of really connecting with any of what we call the soul tribe, or our energetics, our wizards, our fae, all the magical people. It's really important to me. So once I found out I was going to be going to this festival, it's also, by the way, Craig, I don't know if you know this or not, but it was completely on accident. I even ended up at this festival. Right. So a very good friend of mine, Panelope, good fairy friend of mine, she had set the event up, wasn't able to attend, and then I went instead. Now, do you remember setting up, because you were a vendor at this festival too, right?
I was.
Okay, and what were you guys? What was your booth?
Oh, Holistic Health Science and the Vibroacoustic Sound Lounge. We'll talk about that.
Yes, and so it's very important. And the reason I asked you that, so in short, they have these amazing, and again, we'll get into the details, but like sound beds and headphones that just really whisk you off into quite a interesting space and time. And so it was amazing. Now, I don't know if you remember this part or not, but this is the part that really got me. So Nadia, who you had met, who had created, Pro Priest, and we kind of did our pre-launch.
Absolutely. Love Nadia.
She's great. Well, she's been staying here in Portland for a few weeks, and I kept telling her I'm going insane with all these humans. Like I need these other people, and I want to go to this festival because I know I'm going to see my people there. Right now, you understand what I'm saying, and some of the people out there, you understand what I'm saying. But if you're not on that side of the spectrum already, that just sounds like crazy talk, right? So during the beginning, when we very first got set up, right? Do you remember the morning? Do you know that I actually met you that morning?
I do remember that morning, actually. Yeah, we were walking around looking for space.
Okay.
And yeah, I do remember.
Oh, no, that's perfect. So, I'm very Tesla in my workings. So 3, 6, and 9 are really, really big deals to me. Mm-hmm. When we first got there, the vendor coordinator, I guess, the vendor shuffler, I don't know, coordinator would be the right word, but it's okay. And, we love her, She actually started us right next to where we were going to set up, but didn't tell us that. Instead, had us walk around with her for 42 minutes.
Because I met you on the exact other side of the festival grounds. Right.
Now the 42 minutes is key to me because that's a 6.
Yeah.
Okay, now here's what's funny, guys. So I'm getting walked around, meeting who knows which vendors, if they're really vending, if they're just there. We came across a plethora of people. Then we get inside, and you're sitting there very calmly. You have the same kind of little grin you have right now, and immediately walk in. Like I look at Nadia, and I'm like, I totally know this guy. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, but not that I know him, but I know for sure. And so she gets you all set up, and again, same wavelength to where you're just like, oh no, this is fine. Like, this is fine. Like, I don't think you guys even end up using that space, but just being in the flow of things, like, this is fine.
You did. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was great.
So in this moment, I think we had a whole 15 to 20 second quick little introduction. Oh, he's a vendor. Oh, he's a vendor. And guys, this is what's so important, right? And I couldn't even pick a name to call the show because there are so many different things that made me excited about it. So in that moment, instead of like just doing a regular handshake or nice to meet you, or whatever, like Craig comes in and gives me this big like hug, like a soul tribe, energetic, this is my people hug. And it was a good embrace, right? It was good. And right after that, again, I don't know, how much you were paying attention now, but we start walking away and I look over at Nadia and I'm like, I just got my first hug of 2019. It's amazing. I'm so happy to be here. And literally in that moment, like that completely changed my whole like morning, that trajectory, everything that was happening. And so thank you for being that person that like really like pulled me back up out of this stuff. Cause I was just like, man, I'm losing my mind. And that was just a very brief momentary thing. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now on top of that, guys, and don't worry, Craig, you'll have plenty of time to talk. It's very important that I get this story out.
I'm enjoying the story, brother.
Thank you. So a few weeks before this, I was at that Conscious Life Expo. And oddly enough, they had someone there with one of these sound healing bed things. And I've heard about them, quite a few times, never had the opportunity to go. Very good friend of mine, JJ, was working this thing and he kept trying to get me over there. Now, guys, it's so important. And I love that Craig's being so good about this and let me talk so much. The divine timing and the way that we don't always understand the intricacies of what's really happening is so important to not push and not pressure and just pay attention. Because when I got there, and the way I told you guys this, I saw the sound bed and every single thing about the booth made me feel icky. And that's a weird thing when you're approaching an energetic healing space. So every part of me over 4.5, almost 5 days of trying to get over to this thing at the Conscious Life Expo, the universe just kept throwing walls up like, oh, you can't go now because of this. Oh, you can't go now because of this. And I'm just like, all right, well, I won't go. I'll wait. And when I finally got the chance to go, still couldn't go. But I got to meet Nassim Haramein, who's like a huge deal to me. So that all lined up perfectly. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm just not supposed to try it. Okay, now we're going to come back to this festival, guys. So I didn't get to try it. I had an icky feeling, so on. Me and Craig had this like 20, 30 second little interaction in the morning. Soul Tribe for sure. I'm in a good space. I get a chance to take a break at the festival. And as I'm coming in, lo and behold, what do I walk into? A very similar looking, but much more inviting and loving space of sound beds. And I go, dude, I almost did this a few weeks ago. And for whatever reason, I just didn't do it. And come to find out, it's because if I would have done it then, I would not have taken the time to go do it at this time and would not have met my soul brother, man, not from the motherland. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird thing to me. So that was how I met Craig. And the resonance and everything. And to make it, and we'll get into it, but make it even worse, once we finally started talking, everything just clicked. And then, guys, Sedona's a pretty good sized place for being a little town. There's lots of food options. And the first night, as I'm talking about him, as Nadia and I are about to go eat, like he literally walks in 2 seconds later. So divine timing, man. Like that's my spiel. I'm done. You can talk for the next hour now. I'm still freaking out about how all that lined up. Like it's insane to me.
Thank you, universe. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, thank you, universe. It was great because in the morning you didn't see what I was setting up. I just kind of gave you a hug and said I'm holistic health science, which is nondescript about the tech and who we are. And Sedona Yoga Festival is a wonderful and beautiful place because it brings us together. 1,200 attendees, all like-minded, all focused on the same things, and yet we saw you over and over again. I mean, I think once we started to connect, it was like I actually started drifting towards your booth, and you came towards mine, and we were seeing each other a lot more often. And it was really quite wonderful and really quite beautiful. It's one of the things that I love about the technology, that I love about being a steward of this technology is it's such a high vibe product, literally and figuratively, that it attracts our tribe. And every event, every time we set it up, inevitably, the people that I need to meet and that I want to meet and that I'm going to resonate with attract to me from the get-go. It's one of the reasons why I'm so laid back when everybody else is, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. Everything I need is going to come to me, and this is going to be perfect the way it is. And the event coordinator was basically like, so is this going to work? And I was like, yeah, this is totally going to work. Actually, the first place you put me wasn't going to work, but the second place you put me was perfect. And you just got that yes, and I went for it. It was great.
Awesome. Now, there's definitely more things I want to get into, but if you don't mind, like, how would you give the breakdown for what your technology actually does and how it helps, and the whole everything? It's really important, guys.
So the name of the product is the Vibroacoustic Sound Lounge. It's a vibrational therapy device, or more formally, vibroacoustic therapy, or VAT, V-A-T. And the body of research that kind of governs what we do goes back about 40 years. A guy by the name of Olav Skill in the Netherlands coined the phrase and kind of pioneered the research behind vibroacoustic therapy. And vibroacoustic therapy is focused on 30 to 120 hertz, which is a sound wave frequency. It's very low frequency. Just to give you an example, a subwoofer that you typically see in a home stereo is about 80 hertz and below, right? So these are very low frequencies, and the research studies them with and their impact on the body. So it's basically 30 hertz. How does that impact the body? What is it good for? What conditions does it work for? And how does it impact the body? I'm a certified vibroacoustic practitioner and therapist. I've been trained underneath the lineage of Olav Skill and his people that have been trained directly by him. And I study this research on a regular basis. And I sell a technology. We make and manufacture the technology and distribute this technology right now throughout North America. And that's pretty much what we do and how we do it. Personally, I grew up in New York. I grew up on Long Island. I lived in Manhattan for 10 years. My wife and I met in New York, very intoxicated at a nightclub at 2:00 in the morning. It works for those of you in New York, the big cities. And 8 months after we met, we moved in together. 3 months after we moved in together, we took an opportunity to move across the country and moved to San Diego. Lived in San Diego 2010 through 2017. At that point, somewhere in there, I met my now business partner, Dominic Carnevale, who owns and operates Holistic Health Science along with me. And let's see, in June of 2017, an RV, a motorhome, fell in our lap, literally. And it was right about the same time that it was time for us to kind of take the Sound Lounge on the road and travel the country. So we did. For the last 21 months, you see me sitting in my motorhome now. That's my rear view camera. You can see the mirror looking back to another mirror, and you can see the lights in the ceiling. And I'm happen to be facing the sunset right now, which is why it's so bright behind me. And this is my life. We've been traveling around the country, teaching and training on vibroacoustics, talking about frequency and its impact on the body. If you're familiar with crystal bowls, if you're familiar with tuning forks, it's the same body of research that governs those acoustic instruments, as does our vibroacoustic sound lounge.
Love it. Yeah. And I want to make sure I get back to that, because the acoustic part of the vibrational technology you guys are doing, I think, is very, very important. That I kind of recover that in a minute, the difference of the acoustic vibration versus the resonant frequencies that we use with Mistec, because they're opposite sides of the same coin, equally important. But but before I
want to get into that too.
One of the things I want to talk about, and I mentioned this before we get on, was you said you grew up in New York.
I did.
Okay. So again, a lot on Alchemy 101 is about helping people with this transitional period. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't know a lot of people that start in New York right off the bat that are on this path that you're currently on.
Oh,
would that be accurate?
Oh, for sure. New York, Manhattan in particular, which is where I lived for 10 years, it's a very congested place, right? You got 3 million people that call Manhattan the island of Manhattan home. During the work week, that swells to 10 million people. And that's a lot of people, right? And you know what I know now of energetic auras and how intertwined our energies are. And here's what I figured out. So, because now looking back on my quest of being awakened and aware, right? My awareness, with each day, I become more and more aware of my being. And when I was in New York, and when you're in these big cities, your energetic aura shrinks. It has to, right? Because especially for somebody that's as empathic as I am and my wife, you're engulfed in other people's energy on a regular basis. I mean, even as I sit in my apartment, there's energy above me, energy next door to me, energy below me, energy diagonally to me in all directions, like the Brady Bunch movie, right? Or the Brady Bunch show.
Yeah.
So you have people around you, and energy goes through walls, 10, 12 feet. You're picking up on somebody else's energetic field. That's one story. Somebody sitting on the floor above me, I'm picking up on their energetic signature, and they're intertwined with one another. So in the city, I feel like especially spending so much time there, even though I'm going to Central Park, I'm spending time in nature, I'm getting outside and doing all the things that we know we're supposed to do, that auric field is shrunk, and it has to be, right? And then as I left for San Diego, little by little, that auric field opened up more and more and more, to a point now where I love going to New York City, and I still have lots of family there, but I can't go for more than really 3 or 5 days.
Yeah.
And when I first get to New York City, I need to ground. I need to go to Central. I literally go to Central Park and I lay in the grass, spread eagle. I literally need 7.83 hertz, and I need the wide open air, and I need the ground. I need the negative ions. I need all of it.
Yeah.
And I spend my time in New York in really a vortex, and I'm very blessed to have access to a beautiful home on West 55th Street, through a spectacular healer there. Her name is Abigail Devine. She does sound healings. She's one of the best body workers and coaches in New York City and beyond. And her entire room is all white. She's got crystals in all the corners. She's got orgonite everywhere. She obviously has her bowls there. I mean, it's an energetic vortex for me to spend my time in, to recharge. And I spend a lot of time in her apartment when I'm in New York. I have to.
That sounds awesome.
So, yeah. And there's a couple other things, right? New York City, you've got neon lights all the time. You've got lots of stimulation. There's noise all the time. It's rarely quiet, even in the middle of the night. It's rarely dark. And they're fluorescent lights with blue hues that are affecting your circadian rhythms. I drank a lot of alcohol when I was in New York. I mean, I drank 7 days a week. I would start my mornings. I mean, I was in New York City nightlife. I was a host. I was a general manager. I ran bars and nightclubs. I worked 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. On top of everything else, my circadian rhythm was completely torched. And I'm drinking alcohol, which dampens that energetic openness, if you will. So there was a lot that was happening in New York City. And it wasn't until I got out of the city and really started spending more time in nature that I really began to bloom and become awakened to my energetic capabilities.
Okay, now when you were growing up in New York, and this is really important, while you're talking about your aura body being condensed and like all that, was that something that you were aware of already at that age, or was it till later that you realized what was really going on?
No idea.
Okay.
No idea. Right.
Okay.
I mean, certainly not on the level that I know now. Right. Did I have a general idea? Yeah. Did I realize that I was empathic? Probably not. Right. I probably didn't even know what that word was.
Okay. When did that start for you?
Probably 5-6 years ago, when we were in San Diego and began working with plant medicines and understanding a little bit more about energy. Certainly when we got our Reiki, became Reiki masters and started learning about that. It was part of the awakening process. My wife She got sick. We were searching for answers as to what was going on. We found it to be gluten after a lot of testing, and it's worthwhile to share some of these symptoms because we went to doctor after doctor after doctor in the formal system. And I certainly haven't told you this story, but it's responsible for the beginning of our awakening in the depth that it is today. And Ipek has this, she's Turkish, she has this beautiful olive skin, and all of her lymph nodes were swollen, basically from the stomach up, underneath her arms, in her neck, behind her ears. Many of her lymph nodes were swollen and hard, and she kept losing her voice. We would go out drinking for the weekend, mm-hmm. and by Saturday, we'd go out Friday night, and by Saturday afternoon, voice gone. To a point where she was whispering, she couldn't talk, couldn't figure out what was wrong. Right, couldn't figure out what was wrong, and her skin was breaking out in these cysts. Never had these issues, and the skin is a telltale to what's happening in the body. Skin is your largest orifice, and toxins are emitted very often from your skin. So when the body finds something that it wants out, there's a couple different ways that it can push it out the top, out the back, or through the skin. And we didn't know this then. So we're going from doctor to doctor asking what's going on and what this is all about. And everything's coming back negative. They did a biopsy on one of her lymph nodes. It wasn't cancerous, it came back negative. And I brought this book in one of these doctors, which was, it was a gallbladder flush. I'm just thinking like cleanse the body, detox. I didn't know what I know now, but I was just thinking time to detox the body. Yeah. And the doc was like, no, don't do that. You can actually do more harm than good. I'd get rid of that book right away. And I kind of rolled my eyes like you did. And I was like, all right, we're out of here. And we left. And I said to Ipek that night, I said, what if it's gluten? And she went, it's definitely not gluten, right? And I was like, but what if it is? Like, let's just cut out gluten and see what happens. So let's just go 100% cold turkey on gluten, and let's see if that's what it is. Now, my wife is Turkish. She loves her bread. She loves her pasta. She loves her bulgur wheat, and she eats it in every meal, right? Morning, noon, and night. It's part of the diet. So I knew she was eating a lot of gluten, but I didn't realize quite how much, and I had no idea what impact this was going to have. And sure enough, 72 hours after her last bite of gluten, all of the symptoms went away. I was like,
interesting.
Whoa. Right? Now, Ipek's like, it's definitely not gluten, but you got lucky. It's this new cream that I'm putting on, and it's this new thing. And she was in complete denial. I said, look, this was August. I said, look, we're about to go on vacation. We go away every year to Burning Man. And I said, look, when we're at Burning Man, we control our food. We bring in everything we're going to eat for, 10 days. Let's just keep with the no gluten. And then when you get back, we'll slowly introduce gluten again, and we'll see if that's what the trigger is. And sure enough, as soon as we introduced it, she lost her voice. The cyst came back, and the lymph nodes were swollen. And I said, honey, no more gluten. And of course, I gave gluten up also, right? So over the next 6 months, I got these pesky head colds, like over and over and over again. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong. So I'm sitting in bed. We're planning our wedding. James Edwards, hello, brother. We're planning our wedding. And this was a Sunday morning, and I've got this head cold. And I'm sitting in bed, and just like I'm sure you are, and I've got a bunch of different tabs open, and I'm just researching I'm reading article after article, and then I'm verifying what I read in that article in another tab, and then keywords I'm Googling in another tab. And eventually I was like, look, I can't do this anymore. I got to go outside. And I go outside, I'm sitting on the couch while Ipek is sleeping. And over and over and over again, genetically modified organisms keep coming up in my search. I'm searching like gluten intolerance, immune system, and over and over, GMO. And I don't know about you or anybody that's really watching, but I didn't know what that meant. I always thought that genetically modified organisms meant bigger apples, redder apples, bigger bananas, right?
Right.
And it couldn't be further from the truth. But I couldn't read anymore. So I picked up a movie called Genetic Roulette. And I sat down to watch this documentary on genetically modified food. Dr. Jeffrey Smith, the Center for Responsible Technology, puts together this documentary. I highly recommend you watch it. And I shit you not, I was horrified, absolutely horrified with what I saw and what I learned. And I took copious notes and I verified everything, and it all checked out. And Ipek woke up about noon that particular day, and I still remember all of the pantry doors in the kitchen were open. All of the food was out on the center console. Anything that had a genetically modified food and organism in it, or a derivative of such, maltodextrin, dextrin, dextrose, maltodextrose, we really dove into the ingredients that were in our food. Anything that had it was either getting returned, it was getting donated, it was going away. And I said to Ipek, she was like, what are you doing? And I said to her, I want you to sit down on the couch. I want you to watch this movie. And if you see what I see, we're going to reschedule our day. We're going to go to Whole Foods. We're going to go buy organic food. We're going to, go do our thing. And if you tell me I'm crazy, I'll put everything back and we'll plan our wedding and we'll have the day that we thought we were going to have. And sure enough, she watched this thing and she was like, is this true? Is this real? Is this what's happening? No. Is this right? And I was like, it all checks out. And she was like, we gotta go to the store. We can't be eating this anymore. And that was the beginning of our awakening, because from that point forward, I now didn't have the toxicity in the body. And that opened me up to so many different aspects of my awakening, because my body was no longer held down. It's the same with the alcohol. At that point, I gave up dairy. I gave up gluten. I wasn't going vegan or anything. I was still eating meat, but we were going to eat clean meat, grass-fed, grass-finished, right? Yeah. Organic meat.
If you don't mind, what's the name of that video again?
Yeah. The video is Genetic Roulette. And the website is www.geneticroulettemovie.com. And from that day forward, everything's been different. From that day forward, I know and control these three main environments: what I put in my mouth, what I put on my skin, and what I keep in the air around me. And I'm very conscious of it. I used to smoke a pack a day for 10 years. I quit cold turkey. I used to drink alcohol every day like it was my job. Now I have literally 1 glass of tequila a year. So I don't ask anybody to do anything that I haven't done myself. I know it can be done. I know it's hard, but when you're armed with the right information, it becomes way easy. And if you are in any way, shape, or form empathetic, empathic, psychic, if you're interested in developing those skills, because we all have them, you have to clean up your diet. You have to clean up and limit the chemicals and the toxicity in your life. I'm talking about air purifiers. I'm talking about getting rid of perfumes, colognes, deodorant, making sure it's all organic and natural, no processed foods. If you can avoid meat and animal products, good on you. I highly recommend that. And, that's really the awakening. And that's really when things started to change. We got into essential oils. I started to learn about plant medicine. We got into other plant medicines and began doing the energetic cleansings. We got into sage and smudging and Palo Santo and, all the hippie stuff.
Of course. Right?
Yeah. And never once have I lost sight of what that means. And never once have I lost sight of where I've come from. And never once have I judged anyone because of what they do or how they do it. And frankly, if you want to eat all that junk food, I'm not going to tell you no. And in fact, I follow a mostly plant-based diet now. Everything's organic, as much local as possible. I'm familiar with the genetically modified foods and I do not eat them. But you know what? If you invite me over to your house and you're on your path and you cook me up mom's lasagna, and it's got dairy and it's got pasta and it's got gluten and it's got everything, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to love that meal and I'm going to love that time that we're spending together, because that's connection, right?
Yeah.
It's bringing people together, and you put love and energy into that meal and I'm going to eat it. It's the exception. It's not the rule.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When I get back to my house, I only keep plant-based foods, all organic and all the things in here, except for that one time during the month when Ipek's on her moon. She likes to have a piece of good, clean meat, and that's okay. She's bleeding. She needs to replenish that blood, and I understand that. That feels very natural to me. We have eggs every now and again, and they come from happy chickens, right? And I know the chicken's name. Happy to eat an egg that they brought. And and you bless your food, which is a whole other conversation, but it's the way that I like to bring it. And I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form. I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. And the way that you live a blessed life is you bless everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just that simple. You bless your food, you bless your sleep, you bless your brothers and sisters, you bless the people around you. And guess what? In return, you get a blessed life, because that gets reflected back to you.
Dude, brother, that was
a mouthful.
Beautiful. No, it was beautiful though. It was literally like so perfect. And so anyone that's either with us in the channel now or with us on Artists First, what he just delivered, like literally step by step by step, is almost identical to how I got into mine as well. Like almost verbatim. Now, the interesting thing to me about what you said, and guys, really take this to heart, because this is so important of what he just said. And to me, this is really what is a defining factor of when I say soul tribe. So it wasn't about, if you invite me over to your house, I can't eat that. No, the understanding of everything just needs to be a conscious effort. Does that pretty much sum it up?
Absolutely.
And so finding the appreciation, the beauty, the love, the divinity that is literally in every single thing around us in every moment, like just looking for that, acknowledging it and respecting it is kind of the key to everything.
Look, I'll share with you all what I say, before I eat meat. Okay. And if you've seen the movie Avatar, if you speak with anyone in any type of native tribe, right, when they eat meat, they bless that food. They thank that animal and the energetic signature of that animal. And before we eat our food, whether I'm out or whether sometimes I just say it to myself, I say, bless this amazing food. May it nourish my body. May it give me the power and the strength I need to shine my light super, super bright. May this food be my medicine so I can heal myself, and it gives me the energy that I may heal others. If I'm eating a piece of meat, I thank that cow, I thank that piece of meat, and I let him know that that sacrifice is healing me and giving me energy that I can then heal back, and that his sacrifice or her sacrifice is of the utmost importance, and I thank it and I appreciate it. And then I send love and gratitude to everybody that helped to bring the food to my table. Because even the farmers that are raising that cattle, and even the farmers that are raising the potatoes and the carrots and all the food, I send them love. And I make sure that everybody knows that I'm grateful and they feel my gratitude, right?
Yeah. Now, it's funny you say that is, guys, just so you know, he didn't pay me to say this. I can actually testify that that's a true statement. Because when we were eating at Chocolate Tree in Sedona, I remember the moment the food came, because I always do a little, chokere over my food. That's my quick little, but I literally saw him and heard him do this. And he said it like, it was funny because you said it right now at a very understandable speed.
Yeah, I went real fast.
But at Sedona, you were speaking very quickly, and I just heard all of them like, okay, my man. Yeah. I got you. But so he really does do that. And that's another thing I think is really important is what is it? Be impeccable with your word. Mm-hmm. Right. And so the integral part of that is so many of us, and I still fall into it now, that we're really good about doing all the right things when other people are paying attention, but getting into the habit of doing it when we're the one paying attention is kind of the trick, because once you get to that, everything else is just kind of autopilot. And so I just want to acknowledge and appreciate you for that, brother, because the fact that you say you do that every meal, and the handful of times that I've seen you eat, I literally have seen you do it every time. So that's so key, man. And that's amazing. And the gratitude and everything, like, guys, when he says that, and you can see him smiling when he says this is a sorry, quick little shift. But as far as mass consciousness goes, I feel like whenever you're experiencing something, all of consciousness is to a degree. But when you get to that level of empathy where you're at, like, as you're sending the gratitude out, you can actually feel the receiving of it, even if they don't know it's coming. And that just gives you that extra little buzz and little hum. And like, it's interesting, right? Like when you send it out, you still feel it on both sides.
And you hear it back. You literally hear it back more often. I mean, look, here I am. I walk into the Sedona Yoga Festival, right? I'm looking for my people just as much as you're looking for your people. And what's the first few things that I hear is, oh, hug. Oh, yeah, you're my people. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Right? So as I thank everybody, and it's not just about being courteous, right? Be courteous. Love your brother, love your neighbor, be nice, treat unto others. You know, all of the major books teach the same things. You look at the Old Testament, the New Testament, you look at the Quran, they all teach very similar ideas. And I've studied it. I got a 15 credit concentration in religion. So I'm very familiar with all of these books. And they all talk about do unto others as you want done unto you, right? What you give out, you get back. And you got to walk the walk. You can't just talk the talk. And like I said, I'm never asking anybody. I'm currently coaching 3 people on diet and nutrition. It's not what I do for a living. They asked for help. I want to give help. And I'm not asking them to do anything that I haven't done. I'm not asking them to eat a meal that I'm not currently eating or have eaten based on where they are in their transition. And, there's another important part, I think, in the work that we do, Halo, and that is you have to meet people where they are, right? And I have no expectation that you're going to go from 0 to 60 or 0 to 100. I have no expectation that you're going to all of a sudden go, oh, okay, I'm going vegan and I don't drink alcohol, right? Like boom, 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 boom. It's all happening right now. No, it happens in phases and the body needs to make adjustments. Some of these adjustments you're going to make, your body is going to straight detox. Like you stop eating processed foods and sugar, man, you're going to get headaches. You get off caffeine, right? You're going to have headaches and your body, you need to go through, like, I don't ask anybody to stop drinking coffee on Monday morning. Thursday. Yeah. Thursday is the day we stop drinking coffee. Why? Because Thursday afternoon, your body is going to be craving that pickup and you're not going to have it. Let me give you a couple other things. You're going to eat an apple. You're going to eat a fresh orange, right? The sugar will give you that lift. So you're still getting that high. You're still getting that lift. But come Saturday morning, your body is going to be going through withdrawals. And I didn't know this until I actually went through it. But an eye twitch, literally you could see my eye twitch when I'm going through a caffeine withdrawal. So for anybody who's watching, if you've got an eye twitch, you're going through a caffeine withdrawal, telltale sign of caffeine withdrawal. Anyway.
Yeah. And look, just because you had mentioned the detox thing, I'm currently on my second time attempting. I'm on maybe day 3 or 4 now of doing the turpentine cleanse protocol.
You are.
I am.
Wow.
Now, I've done lots of research on it as far as the videos out, but more importantly, a very good friend of mine and mentor in some things, he went through the whole thing and literally lost like hundreds of pounds and his diabetes and like has never been so healthy. And I remember the first time I took it, I was already in a pretty good, mostly plant-based, like pescatarian diet, right? Yeah. And when I was taking it, I immediately felt like more awake, more vibrant, more all these things that they talk about that's going to happen, right? Well, then I start traveling like crazy. And I'm like, I don't want my body going through this while I'm on the road. I'll restart when I've got time to really be at the house and, be able to handle situations as they, you know what I'm saying? So
you're flushing.
Right. Yeah. But since, after the holidays and everything, and my wife's not 100,000% on board, but she's pretty good about it. But when we travel, especially when we go home, big Hispanic family, like you said, we're eating the love. So I got back into my meat, got back in all these things. And now coming back, I'm like, all right, now I want to do it. Let's get on this. Let's do this turpentine. And Nadia is actually, she's doing it with me.
Oh boy.
Right. Now, here's what's weird. And we talked about this. The Sedona thing had me zapped for the last 2 weeks, brother. Like, never so much in my entire life have I been so drained. And being such a high energetic person, it's been very weird and odd for me. Now, the first 2 days that we got on this cleanse, both of us were just like, I'm wrecked. I can't even go to the gym today. Like, no, I'm good. Day 3, though, I'm pretty super duper. I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
She's still getting a little hit on it. And I think it's just different energetic places, different places in the body, but being able to recognize and see those things like you'd mentioned, when we're coaching people on so many things, we know how to operate. Again, we can't help operating from ego. That's what we do, but we know how to operate from the place of source and the place of no rush, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many times have you come along when you're coaching people? And I get it all the time on the show and in the chat's great that people are like, well, I've been doing this for this amount of time. Nothing's happening. Where is it? And the ability to try to help people readjust that ego detox has been one of the most entertaining and difficult parts of my career doing this thus far. Is that, tell me that's not the only thing I do, because please tell me this is a normal thing.
The ego. We can talk for hours. We could talk hours about the ego.
Of course. Of course.
So hold on. I actually just went through my own detox, and I'll talk about that, I guess, because I think it's worth mentioning. You know, going straight to a turpentine cleanse is not for the faint of heart, and I definitely don't recommend that. Anybody who's watching this video, I think you need to be cautious about the turpentine cleanse in general. It's advanced, and there are many levels to do before that, in my opinion. I was just down in Mexico for 8 days, and our entire house got hit with the 24-hour bug. And then I came back. We're going to talk about the ego because I think that's important. We then came back on a Sunday night, and the following Friday, I was the worst I've ever felt in my adult life. It was coming out both ends. I couldn't hold anything down, and I was in really bad shape. And as always, when I don't go to the doctor, I use unconventional insurance and all that sort of thing. And I just kept thinking, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Whatever it is that's inside me needs to be shed. And I checked in with a medium that I know and a healer that I work with. And she called me in a panic. And she said, I don't understand why you're laying on the couch. You need to get up right now. You need to get to the store, and here's your protocol. And she gave me a protocol. I didn't know what I needed to do. I was literally just waiting it out. And I was on my Beamer. I was on a sound lounge. I was doing the things that I know I need to do, but I didn't have a sense of urgency. I was just kind of laying there in my misery. And she said, you need to get up right now, get over to Whole Foods. You need to get grapeseed fruit extract. You need to get activated charcoal. You need to get distilled water. She said, you can ask me questions. You can do research. You can do as much as you want tomorrow. Right now, you're getting to the store and you're doing what I'm telling you. And I was like, no problem. I trust you implicitly. That's happening. We went to the store. She gave me a protocol, activated charcoal in the morning with a lemon squeezed in it, cleanse and clean the body, detox heavy metals. The grapefruit seed extract was used 5 drops in a cup of water, cup about this big. And I did that 3 times a day. And I exclusively drank a gallon of distilled water for 3 days straight, 3 gallons. And I went through my process. And on the other side, I felt fantastic. She told me to keep an eye in the toilet for what's moving through me. I didn't quite go that far, but whatever it was passed through me. And one of the things that I was looking at doing after that was the turpentine cleanse. Yeah. And I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm now on this kick where I want this temple to be as clean and as clear as possible. And I'm going to go through a bunch of different cleanses. So I want to talk to you about the turpentine cleanse.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So that was my journey. And now I feel fantastic. And oh, by the way, I'm wearing the Mystic Tech, right, as part of my repertoire. And I got to tell you, since I've gone through that cleanse and I'm wearing this, I am sleeping pure and clear. I wake up. I have sustained energy. It's now 6:15 at night. I got up at 5 a.m. I've been sitting in front of my computer doing what I'm doing right now. This is my second interview today. I've led 2 Zoom calls. I've been on phone call after phone call, and I feel fantastic.
Yeah, I love it.
Doing the right things and having the right energy is what it's all about.
It really is. It really is. And speaking
about
of
ego.
Oh no! Before I get to that, I want to make sure I mention this because we've still got about 15 minutes left, and I think we're just gonna have you on a couple different times to cover everything for the rest of this existence until the next. That's a good plan. That's a good plan.
Let's do it. I'm in.
While we're talking about jewelry and stuff, one thing I want to point out really quick: if you guys are on the video or you guys are seeing us on YouTube later, the beautiful face chain that I have on right now, right? Mm-hmm. This was made by his wife, Ipek. And can you please? How can people find this on social media and such?
Totally. So her name is Ipek, I-P-E-K. The name of her company is Ipek Design. Her website is ipek.design. She can be found on Facebook, Ipek Designs. And I'll put something up in the chat right now so that you can see a link to what she's got going on.
Please take it. And the reason I ask about and why I wanted to point this out is, guys, if you know me, know anything about Mistech, know about how much respect and understanding that I try to have for the human body and its conduit, I feel like the jewelry and the things that you have on you at all times are very paramount to things that you have access to. It's one of the reasons I don't carry coins in my pocket, because I feel like there are specific booby traps to throw off our electromagnetic field. Having those coins on you have all sorts of detrimental effects that you don't even realize are happening to you. So I'm very anti-coins. So when we started talking, and again, guys, I'm telling you, like, there's so many things he's even said right now that I just found out. My man, you don't
even. I mean,
so I'm saying the level of things that match up are insane to me. But when he told me what his wife does and what she makes, my man, I'm literally going, wait, what now? And she goes over and brings me these things, and it's gold, it's labradorite, the one that I have, but she showed me tons of different designs that she has, right? Now, anyone that's been following the show, and Craig, I think you know this now because we talked about it briefly, I've been very, very overly much on my embracing of intuition and staying in the flow. It's been very important to me of 2019. I want 2020 going in and the full reborn, whatever it might be. I don't know what that is yet, but that's why I want my 2020. So this year has been very much about intuition. Okay. Now, again, guys, she showed me, I want to say maybe a dozen or so of these face chains, and all of them beautiful. Some were black, some had different designs on the ends. Long story short, I ended up with this one because of the labradorite that's on here. Right now, again, there's no way that this could have been known, made up, but also no way it could have been coincidence. So apparently all of her chains, everything she makes comes with an affirmation specific for the design, what she was putting her intent into, and probably what the jewelry and stones themselves wanted to be turned into, right? So when she gives this to me and I'm like, oh, this is the one I want. And she goes, the affirmation for that is I am intuition. And literally I'm like, of course that's the one that I would pick. That's hilarious to me right now. And so I put it on, and you guys know I like to mess with muggles, so I just wear it out and about whenever I feel like it. But I call my wife, and I forgot I had it on. Dude, Jeanette freaked out. She's like, babe, what is that? You were looking for something. Like, I know. And it literally just got brought to me. Like, this is how the universe works. And I met these amazing people along the way. And now when I get home, it's my baby's, like, favorite thing he's ever seen. He wants to wear it all the time, and he gets so excited about it. So amazing work, man. And that's the thing, guys, like we didn't have time to really get into all of it, but just coming from the New York lifestyle to where you are now, guys, I promise you, even though he didn't get into it, the leaps and bounds and difficulties and chaos and friends and family that may or may not have come and gone along the way, it happens to pretty much everybody. Absolutely.
It was definitely not a smooth ride. And look, people come and go from your life, whether you're going through an awakening or not. So I'll tell you a couple of things. So every morning at 8 a.m., I co-lead along with Michael Zappia and Colette and a small team. We collaborate together, actually. I should say nobody really leads it. It's a collaboration among many of us. It's called Path Changers. Path Changers is a group of people that are getting together to help one another change each other's paths and catalyze change in their own path and the paths of those around them. And that doesn't mean towards enlightenment. It doesn't mean towards awakening. It can be a business opportunity. It could be a new life lesson. It could be food. We actually have these 7 pillars, which we've outlined: nutrition, wealth, health, food, emotions, spirituality, right? These 7 pillars. And every weekday morning at 8 a.m., this call is open to anyone. Search on Facebook at Path Changers. I'll put a link up in the chat as well. And you can send me a Facebook message. If you want to send me an opportunity to connect, I'm very happy to connect with everyone. The only ask that I have is that you send me a message and tell me that you saw me on Halo's Livecast or Facebook Live, so that I know where I met you, because I get a lot of friend requests of people that I don't know. And I want to make sure that I had an interaction with you at some point somewhere, and then I can record that inside our chat, so I can go back to that and I can see, oh, we met through this. That's very important. But Path Changers is something that I definitely wanted to talk about. It's open to everybody. It's 8 o'clock Pacific time every weekday. And it's not about spirituality or religion. It's not about any particular business. It's just about getting together. Right now, we happen to be reading a book together, The Power of Engagement. And that's what we're talking about every morning, and you're welcome to join as well. We also do a Facebook Live, so you don't actually have to hop onto the Zoom call ourselves. You can actually interact with us on the Facebook Live as well. Awesome. And, the other thing that's worth mentioning is one of the biggest tools I have in my tool shed is that sound lounge, and is these different frequency technologies. I have a PEMF machine called the Beamer, and I feel like we could dive into that. Maybe we just come back and we talk about frequency and frequency therapy. And I'm super interested to hear your perspective and learn from you on that front as well. So maybe we just come back someday soon.
Well, and this is the thing. So anyone that's again here now, or if you're on Artist First, this is for the radio show, 8 p.m. Thursday nights, Pacific time, right? And there are definitely times where I've done other videos that are off at least the Artist First part, and that ends up on the YouTube channel. So maybe we just have to get that scheduled up, and I'd love to add that to like just a regular regimen of things, man. Like there's so much stuff that I feel that we can just exchange and learn about, and I don't think anyone would really mind so far the feedback. And I'm getting other stuff outside from this Facebook stuff too. So yeah, we definitely got lots to talk about, man. But I just want to definitely point out, guys, the sound lounge thing that he's talking about. And if you can, please throw a link up for that as well. I know there's some things that you guys are working on, but still the experience that I got to have, if you guys ever have a chance to follow, see any events they're going to be at and experience this thing, it's a different type of physical experience than anything that you'll ever have. I'll definitely say that. I've been out there, tried. I couldn't tell you how many different types of things at the physical aspect, and it really even goes down into mental and emotional if you relax and let it enough. But it's just very different than anything that you can experience anywhere else. Like that's the best way that I could say it. So, and again, I know there's other things you guys are working on, and these are units you guys can even get for your home and to have, and I highly recommend having that. Just because, guys, the ability for you to be able to take time yourself to heal, the time you put aside all by itself, the intent behind that is way more impacting than you can ever understand. But if you get a very advanced tool like this and combine that with what you're currently doing, like it's just going to take you to places and leaps and bounds that you just can't get to elsewhere. And that's just my opinion. But I've been experimenting with these things myself for quite a while. And so, dude, I was blown away by it. So thank you. Like, you guys doing awesome work, man.
I appreciate that. Devices like the Sound Lounge, they help you to reach deeper meditative states. For those of you that have a hard time meditating or getting out of your head or getting off the task list or the to-do list or shutting down, this is a great tool for you as well. We've got practitioners and visionaries, we call them, all over the country, all over North America, Toronto, Mexico, Canada, and there's probably one nearby. And I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to share that with you. You brought something up, which is probably also worth mentioning, and that's self-care and taking time for ourselves. This was actually the topic that we talked about this morning on Path Changers. Taking time to take care of yourself. And in our motorhome, self-care is like this blanket statement that basically leads no question. If EPEC is telling me that she's laying down and it's time for a little bit of self-care, I say, no problem, honey. Let me get you a blanket. Let me tuck you in. Let me take care of you. There's no judgment around it. It's self-care. Self-care can be cutting your nails. Self-care can be going for a walk outside. Self-care can be sitting in front of your computer with your eyes closed, just taking a couple minutes to take a few deep breaths and take care of yourself. Or it can be something like taking a trip or taking a day off or spending time with your child or your sister or your aunt, your father, your parents, whatever. Self-care is so important.
It is. In fact,
many of us overlook that. And,
dude, okay.
We don't take care
so
of
the way you're explaining it, I don't mean to cut you, but I want to ask you a really quick question. I think this is very paramount because I find myself doing it, and there's other people I know specifically I can think of that I know do it. A lot of times, dude, you love what you do. Like there's not any version, there's not a molecule of you that does not seem like pure joy when you're talking about what you do. Right. Now, a lot of times people will attribute that joy and love for their work as self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important to me that people do understand there is a line between the two. You can totally do what you love, and that can be your peace and but the self-care part has to be a disconnect from all the other things. It has to be very, in my opinion, internally direct.
Do you know your human design?
I'm a generator. No,
Generator.
I'm a generator.
All right. I'm a manifesting generator, and us generators generate. You're a manifesting generator.
Yeah.
All right. So manifesting generators are generators in general. All generators, both generators and manifesting generators, are about 70% of the population. If you're not familiar with human design, go to Human Design America, plug in their little chart. You can get your chart. I'm happy to tell you a little bit about what you got going on. I'm no master in it, but I can introduce you to people that can give you readings. Manifesting generators and generators, we're designed to go until we can't, and then we sleep, which is why I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning from a slumber, and I'm ready to rock and roll, and I am charged and ready to go until I'm not. And then when I'm not, it's time for me to lay down and rest. Sometimes it's a nap in the middle of the day. Sometimes it's a sound lounge session. Sometimes I'm done in the middle of the day. But lately, I've been going amped and energized. And you're right. Doing what you love and doing what you're passionate about, it can often be mistaken. Oh, I love what I'm doing. This is great. But you can't go. You have to take a break. You have to step away. And frankly, sometimes that's making lunch. Sometimes it's taking the time to prep food for myself and my wife. And that's my meditation, right? Sometimes it's going outside and staring at a wall. I mean, sometimes it's taking a phone call with my family. Like, there's so many different things that we can do. It's really remarkable. Hi, Jeanette.
That's my wife.
Amazing.
Hi, baby. Yeah. And no, dude, that's so important. And in fact, when I left Sedona, I was going to Phoenix to house hunt, and I saw my really good friend Jason, who's in the channel. And it was one of the things that he was one of the first people that explained this to me, Wu Wei, the art of doing nothing and accomplishing much. And that to me is the self-care.
Totally.
Right? Because, dude, again, just when you're talking about the place that she wanted you to be set up right at the event and it wasn't right, be like, it's fine. Coming from the place of abundance where everything is always perfectly how it's supposed to be, there's no version of, well, if I don't do anything, nothing's going to get done. It's coming. It's already
perfect. If I get a hit that I'm not doing anything, I'm not supposed to be doing anything. And in this society, we feel guilt and shame when we're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Look, I'm literally sitting in front of 3 screens. I have a laptop, which I'm on that camera. I have an iPad up to my right. I have a phone to my left. Scratch that, reverse it. iPad's on the left, phone's on the right. And my to-do list sits on my iPad all day. I have my schedule and I have my to-do list. And I used to feel guilt for sitting on the couch because I got things to do. You always have things to do. That's never going to stop. You can always find stuff to do. And I'm always amazed at people who are just lackadaisical and lounge all day. And they're like, I don't have anything to do. Epec and I, it doesn't compute. But hey, that's their journey and that's what they got going on. And I know people that are completely in flow. I know people that don't even keep a calendar or a schedule. You can't tell them on Tuesday at 12 o'clock, I want to come hang out. They'll say, call me Tuesday morning. Maybe I'll be here. Maybe I won't. I don't know what I'm doing on Tuesday yet. Whereas me, I've got everything, filed out for the most part. Now I block out bigger parts and I try not to keep that heavy of a schedule, but nonetheless, do nothing.
Yeah.
And you're still doing something.
So look, I got into this point, and I'm not, listen, anyone that's out there listening right now, I'm not suggesting you do this. I've gotten so bad about it, but good, that if I have my day planned out and I don't care how small it is, one thing affects my schedule, I immediately throw it in for the day. I'm just like, oh, well, I guess I wasn't supposed to keep the schedule today. And immediately nothing else happens. And my wife's like, wait, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I was supposed to be doing this, 20 minutes ago.
I thought I was supposed to be doing it.
I was supposed to be, and something happened. So I'm not supposed to be doing it. So nothing else is happening today. I'm just not going to do anything. And she's like, don't you have things to do? I'm like, I do. And the same things I have to do tomorrow. So, And it's weird because the times I don't do that, those are the days I get the weird emails or the phone calls or a guy hitting me up on WhatsApp from Dubai going, hey, we want to do this with like, and so that's the thing is just getting into that flow space. And that's what I do. Thank you again for showing up and being at the event, because that was one of those things where like, I didn't know how or what or why or whatever, but everything felt back into sync after meeting you, even just in the momentary version of it. And now I know we've got lots more to do, just like last time. But
Lots
you know,
to do.
it's beautiful.
Yes,
And dude,
brother,
one last thing I want to before we jump off, because we got to wrap up. But I think beyond everything else, as much as we already resonated on meeting with your family, meeting your partner, meeting previous stuff, all the level of synchronicities all by themselves, it tell me more than everything I need to know. But on top of that, the fact that you're also working in frequency-based healing, which is a very rare thing. I mean, it's becoming a bigger field, but that's still and even doing it in a different way that just interlinks so well. Like, dude, I'm telling you, like, I'm so excited about all of it. Like the again, I said coordinator, quote unquote, for pretty specific reasons, but aside from how the festival went itself, I really feel like we were just there so we could meet again, and now we're back to the great work. Like, it's exciting.
Sometimes the universe. I showed up. I don't know how much time we have, but if I got a minute,
Sure.
I showed up for a flight to New York, and different a different plane showed up. So instead of 3 and 3, it was 2, 3, 2. Right. So they had new hardware. Everybody was frantic. There was a flight to New York from San Diego. Everybody was freaking out. Families were being broken up. Like, everybody was on the same plane. Everybody was still going to make it to the same place, but like, everybody was frantic. And I walk up to the front, and I was traveling by myself, and the gal behind the table, she says, "I'm sorry, sir, we have new hardware and different seat arrangements." And I looked at her, and everybody's freaking out. And I looked at her and I said, "All the seats get there at the same time, right?" and she went, "Huh?" And I said, "They all get there at the same time, right?" And she went, "Oh yeah." I said, "Great, I don't care where I'm sitting, put me wherever." Now, I sit on that flight on an aisle seat. I actually got upgraded from a middle seat to an aisle seat. And the guy across the aisle from me was just like you. We were supposed to meet. We never would have met unless that plane showed up, and he needed to meet me. And I know he needed to meet me because we talked for 6 hours on that overnight flight. I usually sleep. I stayed up the entire time, and we talked nonstop like schoolgirls. Lights, the only 2 lights, overhead lights that were on were the 2 of us, and we were talking the entire time. And I was one of the only human beings on the planet that can help him with what he needed help with.
Dude, that's amazing.
The universe knocks, and if you don't hear it, it knocks louder.
Yeah.
And it keeps knocking louder until you hear it.
Yep.
Pay attention.
And the whole time it's staring at you through the window, wondering why you're not answering.
That's it. So just release yourself to the flow. You get into a car accident, you were supposed to get in a car accident. There's something in there that, yeah, it might be rough, but it might be time for a new car. It might be time for you to meet the person that hit you. It might be time for you to meet somebody that's walking by that's going to give you a hand. Whatever the circumstance is, I promise it's perfect.
It is. You just have to be looking for it. That's the thing. We're so used to reacting in a negative way that we miss, that initial reaction of, that puts a blindfold on. You don't get to see what's really there.
Let go of the expectations.
Yeah.
And replace your expectations with appreciation, and everything falls into place.
I'm gonna wrap up with that. It was beautiful, guys. So this was Craig Goldberg, dude, amazing. Craig Goldberg, check him out. Make sure I say this site correctly, holistichealthscience.com. But make it to the site. But more than anything, if you guys can connect with the person, I'm telling you, this is someone you need in your corner. Even though you might not ever meet him, talk to him, anything. Just I promise you, having his intent in your direction is going to be a beautiful thing. So
find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram. Vassal Sound Lounge is Holistic Health Science, VASL Sound Lounge on Instagram. I run that account.
Beautiful. Man, thank you so much. So guys, again, thank you for joining me tonight on Alchemy 101, whether it's on Artists First Facebook or on the YouTube channel afterwards. This is Halo Marquez, the Alchemist. Check out mistech.net. Check out Craig Goldberg. Check out Epex Face Jewelry. You guys have no idea, man. Thank you guys so much. It's been a beautiful time. And let's continue working at being better humans. Have a good night.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to call you right back.
Sounds good.